Hi everybody, old guy here. I just recently got into Guy Gavriel Kay. About the same time I got into Dennis Lehane, and I can just hear all of you saying, well, gee, old guy, it's about time. You have to understand, to me, these guys are new writers, because the 1980s was just this morning. So I got both of these books kind of back to back. One I pulled out of the library, and the other one, which is over here somewhere, buried under all the other books. I really, really, really need to get more bookshelves. This one, right this long ago. Picked it up on my birthday haul. And I figured, okay, so why don't I just do them back to back and then tell you guys about them back to back. And let's start with River of Stars, and I gotta say, what a great book. Truly great. You know, not classic literature of all time great, but up there. This is a sequel to Kay's Under Heaven, which was also a great book in the same vein, and is neck and neck with this one as to which of them are the better novel. I'd give the edge to Under Heaven, but only by a nose. I think I've actually got Under Heaven reviewed on this channel too, so take a look. And it's not accurate to call this one a sequel because it's set some hundreds of years after. And the main characters of the first one are barely mentioned. Indeed, you find out what happened to them when a crime occurs. A failed general digs up the scholar tree that is overlooking Shentai's family tomb, intending it as a gift for the emperor's impossibly lavish garden. But that drags ghosts into the imperial capital, and, well, we can't have that. Ghosts? You betcha. This novel centers around two main characters, Ren Dayun and Lin Shan. Ren is a local clerk's kid who teaches himself archery and sword fighting, and one day is drafted to help protect the local magistrate, Wang Fuyan, who's on a journey to a nearby town to investigate a murder, and there's really no one else around to provide security, so hey kid, grab your bow and come along. Confronted by bandits, Ren dispatches 7 of them with almost machine gun arrow precision, which is a brief for the self-taught, realizes his life is now completely different, and rides off into the sunset. Well, marshlands, to become a bandit himself. Now, Ren later has an encounter with a fox spirit that is just hair-raising. Something else raising too, and I never really understood the Asian fear of fox spirits until this episode, and whoa, you don't want to run into one of those. Or maybe you do. Lin Shan is the unfortunately educated daughter of a provincial scholar. Unfortunate in the sense that she learns things that women of the times are simply not supposed to, like the Chinese classics, calligraphy, and poetry. She becomes a skilled writer of a song form called Si or Chi, it's C-I, and because of a fortuitous encounter with the foremost poet of the age, and a fortuitous marriage to a court member, finds herself a favorite of the Kitai Emperor Wenzong, who is a wonderfully sensitive, nice guy and a completely inept ruler. How inept? Well, he is obsessed with an imperial garden that is to be filled with every pleasing plant and terrain feature he can think of. So thousands of people die or lose their homes as the ruthless gangs of imperial soldiers charged with collecting the items take whatever they need by whatever means they need to make the emperor's dream come true. Taxes are through the roof. A heavy-handed and uncaring government sneers at the peasants' plight, and the emperor goes to the beach. His garden. All the while, a barbarian force is rising in the north, one that doesn't care about imperial gardens. All they care about is conquest. As a series of disasters engulf Katai, including a siege of a northern barbarian city, in which the general forgot to bring the siege equipment, same general who uproots Shen's scholar tree, Ren and Lin are, as you guessed, thrown together and then apart and then together by the tides buffeting the kingdom. They are two completely different people who come to recognize each other's worth, and, well, saying anything more would spoil things, which I think I just did. There are assassinations, real and faked, backstabbings and exilings and returns from exile and court intrigue, and man, it's just like Machiavelli and Genghis Khan got together for the weekend. Epic. Just epic. Now, it's historical fantasy because Katai does not exist. It is a loose interpretation of imperial China during the Song dynasty, as Under Heaven was a loose Tang dynasty. I don't know enough about either dynasty to compare and contrast, and frankly don't care. Kay has successfully created an alternate China that works, or doesn't, just as well as the model, replete with ghosts and spirits. Now the next one, the A Brightness Long Ago, we go hundreds of years into the future and a whole continent away. And I'm beginning to detect a formula here in Kay's writing, where he takes a period of Earth history and creates a fictional location and fictional characters to pretty much tell the same story. I'm not sure this is true for all of his novels, but I tell you, I'm willing to find out because Kay can weave a tale. This one, though, not so much. It reads more like a series of vignettes or episodes than a coherent story. But it still keeps your attention and rewards the reader, and isn't that what we're looking for? Now, in this case, the period of history is the Italian city-state period of the 14th and 15th centuries, although this is obviously not Italy. It's not even Earth. There's 2 moons. Why Kay feels the need to do this, I really can't say. Perhaps it gives him a lot more freedom to play with the historical events without some sniffy academic pestering him about such things as the type of cloth the locals wore or some such nonsense. But you easily recognize Rome and Florence and Mantua and even Constantinople. There's even a version of the famous Palio de Siena horse race that serves as a prominent plot event. Now, there are 3 main characters: the mercenary commanders Folco and Teobaldo, and Adria, the daughter of Duke Ripoli, who becomes an important factor in the rival commander's plans. No, not in that way, but in far more extraordinary events, one including the horse race. Now, interjected between all these people is Danio, the son of a tailor who becomes a scholar and an inadvertent asset to all 3 of them. When Danio is on stage, the narrative turns to first person, mostly him relating events from the vantage point of 20 years later. Now, ordinarily a shift like that would drive a reader crazy, but it's a technique that Kay wields rather well. The story begins with an assassination of a particularly loathsome duke called the Beast, which gives you an idea. An event that involves Adria and Danio and leads both of them to Folco and Teobaldo, both of whom must decide whether it's now time to take the Beast City for their respective clients, which of course will mean a long-anticipated battle between the two men who simply hate each other because of something that was said decades prior. Danio later does something I find somewhat inexplicable, given his first encounter with Adria, and identifies her to Teobaldo on the eve of the horse race, which changes everybody's fortunes. Doesn't seem something Danio would do, given earlier events, yet okay, let's go with it. In typical Kay fashion, there are dozens of side characters, not only in this book, but also in River of Stars. Some of them you better appreciate right now, because they'll be dead in 2 or 3 pages. One of the more fascinating in this book is the pagan healer Jelena, who becomes critical to the story when she saves the life of a very young noble that Adria's father mistakenly attacked. Adria, you choose. Jelena saves everyone from a lot of trouble with keeping the young man alive, and even helps the youngster become a man. I'll leave that to your imagination. Now, despite the ties binding together everything and everyone, this feels far more episodic than anything. As if it was a bunch of short stories brought together into a novel. Perhaps it was because it is set in the Serantium universe that Kay has written other novels about, none of which I've read. This book may very well fit within that context. And I'll tell you, I'll let you know, because I really intend to read more of his books. Old Guy here. See you later.